Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. Michael invited me here tonight to talk about our recently formed mycology club here in Gainesville, F.A.L.A.F.E.L, the Florida Academic Lichen and Fungi Enthusiast League. When we were brainstorming names, I pitched it as a joke, and then when we voted it won, so that's how we ended up as F.A.L.A.F.E.L. So we were established March 2017 by a small group of UF mycologists. One of our goals is to encourage citizen science by connecting amateur mycologists with professional mycologists. So right now we've been meeting monthly, usually third Thursdays, give or take a week, depending on holidays and whatnot, at the science library on campus where I work. We've had a couple lectures so far. We had Dr. Alia Mujic come and talk about the UF fungal herbarium and the history of mycology in Gainesville. This is actually William A. Merle, who was a famous mycologist who did much of his work in Gainesville. We had Dr. Roseanne Healy come and talk about truffles and false truffles in the Midwestern US, and then I also gave a lecture on the deadly amanita of Florida. We've also done some fun things. We did a screening of Motongo, aka Fungus of Terror, aka Attack of the Mushroom People. It's a 1963, it's a little known Toho classic. It's pretty great, actually. Should definitely have an annual screening, I think, of that one. So we had our first fungal foray earlier this month. Thanks to the internet, we had a huge unexpected turnout. We had 70 participants. Michael came, I hope you enjoyed it. We gathered at Sweetwater Preserve here in Gainesville, and we had people come from Jacksonville, we had people come from Tallahassee, from Dade City. It was pretty awesome. So it was just a big mushroom hunting expedition as a group. And so here is the ID table that we set up. Afterwards, started to sort them. We brought some field guides. We had a gas stove we were going to fire up and cook some chanterelles on the spot for people to try. Unfortunately, we had this freak thunderstorm roll in with hail. And so we bailed on that pretty quickly, but our next meeting was just a couple days later, so we held a post-foray ID session. And this is the visualization room in the basement of Marston Science Library, and we brought in some scopes and chemicals and whatnot and set up this little lab. We looked at some of the microscopic characteristics of the fungi. That was pretty fun. And so some of the things we have planned for the future, we're going to do like a beer and yeast fermentation lecture, and then go on a tour of Swamphead Brewery. Probably a mycophagy, like a fungi eating potluck, like we've had in the past with just individuals and classes. And then this is Alia, he's actually our president, he's at the Mycological Society of America conference now. Everybody is there except for me, it seems like. So he cultivates oyster mushrooms. So we're going to have an oyster mushroom cultivation workshop, and then I know we're going to have a shiitake shiitake cultivation workshop using logs, and then I would like to get somebody to do a mushroom and lichen dyeing demo. They actually make dyes out of lichens and mushrooms, and they're surprisingly brilliant. So these are some of the things we have planned for the future. More nature walks, more forays, more lectures, of course, and then some fun workshops and field trips and whatnot. We just kind of put this together, and we're figuring it out as we go along, trying to make connections with other communities locally. out in Oakland, my buddy Alan's actually involved with a biohackerspace called Counterculture Labs, and I think that is really cool. I don't know how much bio interest you have in this group, but that would be a venue we'd be interested in, you know, checking out if there was interest. So we are pretty active on Facebook if you want to check us out on Facebook. We have an email list, we have a monthly newsletter. That's it, that's what I got. Questions?
How do you get dye out of mushrooms? Different colors.
I haven't done it personally. I know some people who that's their thing, that's why they collect, that's why they hunt and collect mushrooms and lichens, is to make dye. And then they, you know, dye the wool, they spin the wool, fiber is their thing. I know it involves ammonia, and some people get really old school and actually collect urine in a jar and let it age. It's
very old indeed.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I haven't done it firsthand, but I've heard about it. Yes.
Yes. You know, if you were asking about ways to work within this organization, you know, to try and make your club a little better, you know, you could probably talk to the people here about building special grow tanks and stuff to make sure that your mushroom growing areas are sealed away from all bacterial agents that may contaminate them.
Yeah, we could probably get like a flow hood or something. That would be cool. Thank you.
This is kind of new to me. I think it's cool, but previously the only people I knew interested in mushrooms were some rather intense drug users. And so I'm wondering, like, what is the appeal of going out and looking for and you mentioned science, so I'm interested, like, what scientific pursuits are you doing?
Me personally, I'm really interested in mycotaxonomy. That's kind of, it's really interesting because when you look at the mushroom enthusiast community, you have all of these niches. You have the people who just want to die, or the people who just want to, not die from poisoning. Like, don't do that, please. People who want to do fiber work, or the people who are in it because they want to grow their own oyster mushrooms or shiitakes or anything like that. The people who do want to grow psychedelics like psilocybin, that's a large portion of certain online communities. It's a thing. And then there are a lot of people who are just into photography or all sorts of niches within the community. It's pretty interesting. There are people who are just arborists. I've noticed there are a lot of entomologists who are also interested in mycology, and there's a lot of crossover with herpetologists and bat people. And I know I talked to somebody recently who is a bird watcher, and they watch birds during the winter and hunt mushrooms during the summer, and I thought that was pretty cool. So plant pathologists, biologists, all sorts of folks. It's kind of, for me, it was always fun to kind of have a species bucket list of things that I want to find.
Pokemon.
Yeah, it was really great. It was really great though, because when Pokemon Go came out, I finally had people who wanted to go to the woods with me. But now I have a club, and they'll go to the woods with me.
And is this your major? Is that a major you have?
There is a plant pathology department. I have taken fungal biology at the graduate level as a non-degree student. I'm thinking about going back for grad school, but the majority of the founding members of F.A.L.A.F.E.L actually are either postmasters, postdoc, researchers in plant path. But we welcome amateur and professional. I know academic is in the name, but we had to make falafel work. So, we're not UF affiliated. We actually just got affiliation with NAMA, the North American Mycological Association, so that's pretty cool. Anything else? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was interesting.
How sensitive are mushrooms? I remember people, having things years ago in their front yard, like, for growing mushrooms. But how sensitive are they to, like, I guess, all, contamination?
That's interesting. Lichens in particular are really sensitive to environmental pollutants and whatnot. And I know in some cases, lichen health is used to gauge pollution. I've heard some things about if you are a forager and you do hunt to eat, avoiding things that are growing near highways. I haven't actually read any research on that, but that's kind of commonly accepted practice. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.